And that is what they will be doing tonight, reaching for the
Yeah.
stars. Oh, it's just seamless, isn't it? Welcome, Season 3, SlyDog Racing League. What a way to start. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, does it?
It went down a treat last week, didn't it?
It went down a brilliant tree. That was fantastic. I personally think we should have more S Club in F1, and I can't wait to see them perform live at Silverstone this year. Right, Aaron, how we doing, man?
Good, mate, good. It's another Monday. We're here again, start of the season, so it should be an absolute belter. Really looking forward to it. Britain Short and Russia. Two great circuits, so it should be a cracking night.
Should be a cracking night. I don't like your negativity there. It will be a cracking night.
There's no negativity, just pure energy.
This is SlyDog Racing League. There is no negativity. We don't have time for that. Right, so just so we are clear, this is a new season. Everything's back to zero. Doesn't matter what happened last year. If you finished bottom last year, you can finish top this year. Reach for those stars.
That is this season's motto, isn't it? I think that's how we're going to have to roll with this.
Yeah, I mean, pending copyright claims, of course. You know, we don't want to pee off those guys from S Club. I mean, let's be honest, they're probably not in the best financial situation. But nonetheless, they are stars. They reached for them. So tonight we've got two very fun tracks. We've got Great Britain Short, which is sort of a sub 45 second lap if you're doing a time trial. So we expect that to be, quick action, plenty of sort of lapping from people as well. So backmarkers to contend with. And then we've got Russia. And last time we were in Russia, it erupted on the final lap and there was chaos as we had about a group of 4 or 5 that just kept on swapping positions all the way throughout. And I can't wait to see all these amazing drivers back in that same track, giving it their all to take some points. Obviously, we've got new alliances forming tonight, but comes with that new rivalries. Teammates who are no longer. So plenty to look out for all over the track this evening. Obviously, we know roughly the drivers that we think will be up there fighting for the points. We've got last season's champion Granty Boy already setting a couple of quick laps that we've seen in Great Britain Short from his talk on the chat. Hello, Grant. I can see you've just commented. Nice to have you watching. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fun night for everyone involved, and can't wait to get racing.
No, I completely agree. I think it's going to be awesome. And you've summed it up very well there in the idea of new rivalries and some new teammates, some new pairings. So that's going to be exciting. I think it's teeing itself up well. I'm just going to try and get our first interviewee into the chat, which will be the one and only James Punt, who we saw a lot of good things from last season in the Mercedes. And he's, back in that seat again.
Yep, so familiar surroundings for James Punt. We did see him have some very good battles towards the end of the season with, I think it was Wheeler, wasn't it? It was in the Renault last year, and those guys were really at each other for the last couple of races, and it made for a tense battle. I think it was in the end, was it 4th and 5th in the championship last year?
I believe it was, yes.
So yeah, two drivers that will be wanting to go that step further, especially James, and put themselves in the mix potentially for one of those podium positions come the end of the year. We should say as well as seasoned drivers, we also have some new drivers joining us this season, and we'll speak a little bit more about those guys as we get into the evening. But for now, I think we've got James in the chat. Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad. Looking forward to the first race of the season.
It's always good. It's always good. What are your plans for tonight then? Come on, let us into those whilst we've got you here.
I'd say just a refresher and forcing some seems to be happening so far.
And it's also, surprise, surprise, it's classic Britain. It's going to be a damp sesh. So, from this point then, where you see that rain coming down, do you change your setup in the car knowing that potentially it could be dry when you start the race, or do you just run the same setup you've been running?
I'll stop you there for a second. Sorry, we've got Grant, technical director, telling us that he can't hear James on the stream. So That might be a bit of a problem. Have you got your settings to include all voice chat and allow your voice chat to be broadcast? Ah, no worries.
That's- Yeah. Just give yourself if you just pop out and just quickly go back to your dashboard and just change your settings for us, we should be able to hear you. You can do it. Yeah. I think you can do it through there. Yeah.
So James is just trying to change his settings. Apologies that you couldn't hear him there. We'll get back to him as soon as we can. We'll join a little bit of the action on the track though, as we see a couple of drivers heading out. As Aaron's already touched on, does look like we are going to have a wet qualifying session here. Obviously the race might be looking like that as well. So we'll keep an eye on what goes on. It's as we said, a very quick lap round here. So expect these guys to be putting in a lot more laps than they normally would in a qualifying session. Just maybe they'll go a couple of laps on a set of tyres rather than having to change every single lap. But we're already seeing some drivers out there, so we'll try and get you on the track and catch up with some of those guys. I think we've got the Renaults, both of them out at the moment. So that's Butters and Trem. Looks like Butters is going to be the first one to set a time round here, so we'll keep an eye as he makes his round this track. So it's a very short track, as we've already touched on. Not really the highlights of Britain either. Obviously, you miss out Maggots and Beckett's, you miss out some of the more technical turns, and there's just a lot of fast-paced action around here. And I imagine we're going to see a lot of overtaking down the single DRS zone that's on the Hangar Straight. So
Yeah. No worries.
So James is going to head off on his qualifying. Unfortunately, we can't get the technical stuff sorted here with the chat. Unfortunate, because we wanted to really have a chat with him and get his take on the new season ahead. Yeah, we'll get it sorted for another day.
All the best, mate.
Right.
I'll tell you what I was going to say there, Tom, very quickly, was I expect massive things from Butters here, because we saw him do really, really well last week in the battle against MRS. So, I mean, he was setting some really good quality times last week. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
He was, and as I just sort of scroll through the list, we are seeing actually a lot of people invalidate their lap times as they head round here. That's one thing I did find when I was having a little play on this circuit, that it's very easy to invalidate your lap time in a certain couple of areas on this track. We see Osborne crossing the line here in the Haas. He puts himself third on the grid at the moment. We've seen the two Renaults go across the line fastest, but then Granty Boy, the reigning champ, puts in a 49.4 in the wet hit. So he's already a good second and a half quicker. Sorry, it's second and a half quicker than the current closest, which is Trem. Joseph Morados, another quick driver in the Alfa Romeo this year, setting a 53. So again, putting himself right into contention there, but he's still got a fair way to go if he's going to be getting anywhere near the reigning champ's pace. He's just set a purple sector 1, so we'll stick with him on this lap. It looks like he is going for another run on those intermediate tyres. You can see that white line that he's just come very close to crossing. That is where a lot of people will be invalidating their lap times tonight. So need to be very careful. We've got Albert, who's just crossed the line and set a 52, so 50.2. Fantastic work there to put himself currently second, but we still have plenty of people to get their names up the board. Joseph Morados coming round the final couple of turns here. It's looking like a quick lap. Is he going to better his time? He's not actually. He's going to go a tenth slower, so it may be time to get in and get those fresh tyres on with 13 minutes left in this session.
As I say, there's a lot of laps there to be had in 13 minutes, so if I was Joseph, I wouldn't be panicking too much at that point.
Not at all. We've seen another driver who had a cracking season last year, NUFC fan Liam, set his first time at a 50.3, so firmly up there as we expected him to. Mogi as well in the Williams, again loving the Williams as a Mogi, and he set a 50.8, so looking very quick there already.
Another driver that stayed with his team as well, Mogi there. He was Williams last year, Williams this year, so he's a nice easy one to remember.
And we'll ride on board with James Punt then as he's setting his first lap for this session. Obviously, we didn't want to hinder him too much, considering he's got a fair bit of focusing to do here, and he's going to want to get some good quality laps in here before the race, especially if it is wet, and trying to get a feel for this track, because it is, it is not long. You do feel quite pressured to get the power down as quickly as possible here. Because there's, if you make a mistake, there's not much else on the track to make the time up. You've got to just be perfect pretty much for these 40 seconds, which is a bit easier than longer tracks, of course, but it also adds to the pressure and it's a bit more intense. So James Punt coming around the final bend here is going to set his first time of the session, and that is a 52.4. So towards the bottom end of the order at the moment, but then again, that was his first lap. First time lap, I should say, so he's still got plenty of time to improve on that.
Yeah, we do have a static car on the track there somewhere, I can see.
And who is that? That
3.
looks like...
Yeah, it looked like a Haas.
Okay.
I believe that was Rockstar. Rockstar was just... I don't know if he had a bit of a moment there just before the final corner.
Well, he's off on a fly here, and Rockstar was one of the defectors for last week's battle for MRS, so we'll keep on board with him and see what he does. He's been quite strong in previous qualifying sessions when he was in last year as more of a reserve driver, in all honesty, but he has put in some very quick lap times in the sessions we've seen so far, so we'll keep
very
with him
deserving
here.
now of a full-time seat as well. I mean, he's looked very, very quick, so another exciting one to watch.
Absolutely.
Whilst we've got 10 minutes of the qualifying session left, Tom, should we begin the new segment of weekly streams?
Yeah, I think this is a good time to cut in with it. We're gonna maybe we should wait for the end of qualifying. I don't know.
Yeah,
because I just passed back. We'll wait for the end of qualifying. We talk about Rockstar. We talk about Rockstar setting a lap there. Unfortunately, I don't think that was a time lap in the end. He probably abandoned because it was a 55.6. A good 3 seconds off of the nearest rival there. So work to do for the Haas driver. We've also got Pressing Mixer, who's just set his first time in the Ferrari at 51.6. So again, needs to be hitting those 50 sort of dead times to be climbing himself up to a decent start here, it seems. It feels like there's plenty of time to be had in this session as well. So, these guys just early laps at the moment. But the track is very busy. I mean, you look at it, there's, a decent amount of cars everywhere, and that is the other issue with a small track.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be it. It's going to get bunched up very, very quickly out there. So, I mean, pit strategy is going to be a massive, massive factor on this. But, one safety car could make a huge amount of difference because it's not going to take anyone long to catch up with the train.
It could be massive. We've seen NUFC fan Liam, I should say, as well, jump up to second position with his time of 50.022 at the moment. Granty Boy has improved as well by a couple of tenths, 49.268. So looking fast already is the reigning champ. He's got 8 tenths up on the McLaren of NUFC fan Liam.
Yep, and also currently just further down the order, Chatty Duck sitting in 17th. He's now out on a flyer, and he's actually looking through sector 1 and 2 quicker than his previous time. So this could be quite a good time for the Ferrari driver.
Oh, I think he's invalidated it though.
I think he has.
Yeah, it was looking really quick, and that might be why. Let's see if he keeps it up across the line, whether he's going to just try and see what the time would have been. Hits that curb there. It's better than his original, but he's going to have a little bit of work to do to get himself a decent lap in here. Rockstar has gone on a second flying lap, and as we expected from him, he has set a 50.6, so he's up with those guys in the 50s, and fantastic work there from the Haas driver.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge mix of cars going on up the front there. There's, from first down to sixth, there's each is a different team, so that's going to be quite exciting to see. And that's obviously when we touched on it on the media day. There was a lot of teams there, a lot of pairings that we thought, this could make things really interesting for this season. So it's exciting to see how this is going to pan out. So
just watching Albert come across the line here, he's not improved his time there. He's still a good couple of hundreds off his quickest, which is a 52.11. So he'll be looking to get himself, at least I should imagine, trying to get onto the first row of the grid. Obviously teammates with Granty Boy last year, and a cracking season from both of them to take the Constructors' Championship in a familiar colour, the pink of the Racing Point. Can't wait till that turns. Yeah, but I can't wait till that turns into the Aston Martin, because that is a cracking looking car.
That's my new favourite car on the 2021 lineup. It's absolutely phenomenally good.
Looking amazing.
It looks awesome.
So looks like a quiet patch on the track for this moment in this session. We've only got a couple of drivers left on the track still. I imagine this is everyone just gearing up. Albert sets a cracking lap there. Sorry, 49.7. I was just watching that as he come across the line, just to see how quick he would be, and I think he might even be going for another one.
I think he is. He came across around turn 1, absolutely steaming through there. So
fantastically fast from Albert there. He's pulled out a good sort of 3/10 over NEFC fan Liam. So work to do for the McLaren driver. We've got Mogi as well in the Williams, who's sitting there second row of the grid currently, 50.1. Looking strong in the Williams car as always is Mogi. He had a couple of unfortunate incidents towards the end of last year that we kept an eye on, but he always looks strong in the races. It just feels like he maybe just got a bit unlucky with a couple of incidents. So
it looks to me like Pressing Mixer has just made his way out, so he's starting to prepare to put in some more lap time. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Another of the drivers that was a reserve last year. And has now got himself a full-time seat in that Ferrari. So, hoping to see some good things from him as well. He was quick against us, against the SlyDog guys for MRS. So,
was he in that? I thought he was in Thursday.
He's in both.
Oh, okay.
He's a heavy player here.
We're going to watch Leonard Cam as he comes across the line here. He's the other Mercedes driver this year with James Punt. He's going to set a decent time there, 50.6, so getting himself up to 9th, was 11th. So putting himself right into the mix there. There's not much separating the guys in the 50s at the moment. It's going to be a very tight finish, I think, here. But I'm worried how busy the track is going to be, and is there going to be maybe an incident? Something that we need to keep an eye on.
I think the moment that we just saw Albert out on circuit to set that 49.7 was the optimal time to be out. I mean, he was out and pretty much had the track to himself there, and it paid off, showing it reflected in that lap time. So
James Punt coming across the line, setting a 50.2 and putting himself up the order ever so slightly ahead of Joseph Morados.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting end to the qualifying session because this is not overly many cars out on circuit at the moment, but I mean, it looks busy. You've still got about half the pack in the pit lane, so once you get all 20 out,
it's going to be it's going to be tough for some of these drivers because there's etiquette, of course. They're staying out the way, but you still want to be making the most of your time on the track. And I think hopefully we don't see anything. But with it being wet as well, drivers are really going to be pushing it to the limit here. They've had their feeling out laps. They're really going to want to be seeing what they can do in these last 4 minutes.
We'll keep an eye on to be that first guy to bin it on the first race of the season.
No one wants to be doing that. We're going to watch Butters here as he comes round in Sector 3. Final 2 corners to go. Just got to hold it together. It looks like he's really struggling for traction in these final corners. He's not going to set a particularly fast lap. But that's the beauty of Great Britain Short. You have a bad lap, you've only got to wait another 50 seconds before you see if you can improve that time. So you can just keep going and going. I think that's what a couple of guys are doing here.
I think that is exactly it. I'm just watching Butler in his Williams. He flew across the line there, just bettered his last lap time. He's got a 50.9 on the board now, moving into 13th.
Retirement. I think that's going to be Wheeler. We can see yellow flag Sector 2. He's going to have done something there, but that's not going to be good. So not a great start for Wheeler in his AlphaTauri, only setting a 51.1 and now out of the session. So he's going to have some work to do.
Yeah, I've just had a little look on the stream there off the back of D. Lawson's McLaren as he went around that section. It looks like Wheeler's just sort of sent it through the escape road and just clipped the wall there. So unfortunate for him, but he will be one to watch, I think, from 17th.
Yeah, he won obviously most improved driver for last year, and he put in some great performances. I should give a shout out to Mogi as well at the moment, just put himself into the 49 club, 49.8, but it's still only good for second row on the grid at the moment. If he wants to be beating Albert, he needs to lose at least a tenth and a half. We'll keep on board with him as he comes round towards the end of this lap. Not too sure if this is a flyer, actually. I think this is just a cool-down lap for him as he prepares for maybe his final couple of runs here. So 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Not long now for these drivers to get in their final laps. They've probably got about two and a bit at best. We'll stick on board with Mogi in the hunt to get himself on the first row. Looks like he has set off on a flyer here. You can see straight away he's going to have traffic ahead of him. I hope it really doesn't affect his lap too much. We'll ride on board with him. Just to get an idea of how difficult it is on this circuit as well with all the rain.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of spray. If it's like this at the start, it's going to be a bit chaotic. Well played from Rockstar there, though, just moving out the way of Mogi and Wolsey there.
And it looks like he's getting maybe a little bit of a tow from Wolsey as well down here. So this might actually help him out massively. We'll see what his time is across the line. He was 5/10 down at the end of Sector 2. And he's going to come into the pits. There we go. He's going to abandon that. And I think that might be his session over. We'll ride on board with Albert then as he makes his way down the hanger straight into the final couple of turns. Is he going to try and better his time? He is going to go around for another couple of laps, it seems. Make the most out of this session.
Yeah,
so we'll
he's going to want to try and beat Grant this season. I think I can feel it.
So a 49.9 isn't going to do him any better at the moment, but he's at least going to get 2 more laps in if he keeps up similar sort of pace. But he's like he's abandoning there maybe, and we'll maybe see if he just does a little cool down lap here before going on a final run. We've got NUFC fan Liam, who's desperately trying to break the 49 barrier as well, coming so close, 50.022. So we'll stick on board with him for his couple of laps as well, I think, towards the end here. Second retiree is Lawson in the McLaren, maybe just pushing it a little bit too hard there in Sector 2, I think that he's come off there, unless he's just ended the session.
I think he has. I think he's just limping round back to pit lane. So I think he feels that might be the end of his session with 20 seconds remaining.
So we'll ride on board with Albert then, because he's just come across the line. What I feel is going to be his last lap, and is the closest man to challenge Granty Boy at the moment. Granty Boy sitting pretty in the pits with a 5/10 gap between himself and Albert. Albert goes 700ths of a second quicker there. Doesn't look like he's going to have to make up a lot of time here to be troubling Granty Boy, but I think it's going to be more of a personal gain if he can get within a couple of tenths of the reigning champion. Looks like he's set a purple Sector 2 there. Just got to hold it together for the final sector here, and he could be looking at a very quick lap.
Yeah, I mean,
he's just abandoned it.
Oh, gutted. We're just in Chatty Duck jump up the... Joseph Rados has now entered the 49 club. I was just about to say Chatty Duck's just jumped above him, but he's just bit back and hit a 49.8, so moves himself onto the second row of the grid as well.
Well, I think that's pretty much everyone across the line now. That is everyone across the line, in fact, so we can start to digest the grid that we have ahead of us. I believe this race is going to be a 50% race due to how short the laps are, and then we'll be moving back to the 25% distance for Russia. So final standings here for qualifying. Granty taking the pole as we expected, in all honesty. 4.5 tenths down is Albert, and then we've got Mogi in the Williams, Joseph Murados, Alfa Romeo. NUFC fan Liam and James Punt make up your top 3 rows there. So 4 drivers getting themselves into the 49 mark. And, we've seen qualifying sessions probably towards the end of last year where Granty had a bigger gap. So this could be a close race for that reason. Obviously, if it's wet as well, it's the massive equaliser between drivers, and one mistake could mean that we have a real fight on our hands for that first position.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's ever guaranteed, is it? That's the joy of motorsport. One mistake could cost you quite a lot, and we saw the same thing. I keep saying about last week's battle with MRS, but we watched Grant, drop almost to the back end of the pack and fight his way back through. So that was, just goes to show how quick he is, but equally it just shows how easily it can all go wrong.
Absolutely. That was fantastic to watch. That was very, very enjoyable to see him just come back so easily there. Right, so we've got a little bit of a gap here as the guys go around on their formation lap and, get themselves accustomed to the wet track again here, with a higher fuel load this time, of course. So I think this is a good point to start the newest segment of the SlyDog Racing League broadcast, and that is beer chat. I feel like we need a jingle there. Might have to come back with that.
I'll have to create one of those.
Anyways, you may have heard us mention that we do quite enjoy a bit of a drink whilst doing this. It adds to the fun, in all honesty. I don't think it would be half as fun if we weren't slightly tipsy. We've gone up market, though, in all honesty. We've pushed the boat out. We've started looking for your more obscure beers, not your off-the-shelf sort of everyday Stella, Budweiser, Carlsberg sort of thing. So, Aaron, why don't you start for us? I'm not saying this is massively pushing the boat out here. We're confined by Tesco's and Sainsbury's. What you got for us, Aaron?
Well, tonight I've got an array. I'm going to have a little look at a couple of these, but I'm currently working my way through a lovely little bottle of. I went for the name because I thought, what an appropriate name. Elvis Juice is what we have tonight. It's a great
brew dog, isn't it?
It's a brew dog. Yep, it's a grapefruit infused IPA. So nice citrusy sort of hint to it on the undertone. And then I think I'm going to maybe finish the night off with a bit of Bishop's Finger, because why not?
Yeah, why not? I've never hurt anybody. I, on the other hand, have gone completely off the scale here. I'm currently sipping a London Beer Factory Sour Solstice. And just bear with me for a minute here. Contained in this beer, we've got blood orange and cranberry sour. Now, arguably, having had half a can, it's no more than a can in here, half a can, it's not really beer.
No, it's more like a juice by the
description. It is more of a juice, and I was trying to describe, it just tastes like toxic waste in a can, the sweets that you got in the yellow tub. It's just the bizarrest thing. You expect to taste the beer and you think you're getting bitter, but instead you get childhood arcades and sticky floors and
your face being ripped off.
Your face being ripped off, yeah. Think Homer Simpson when he swallows that sweet when he shouldn't. The thing, you know what I mean, the world's sourest sweet, whatever it is. Right, that was beer chat. Thank you very much. Join us next week for more beer chat. The drivers are getting ready on the grid because it was only a 40-second or whatever it was formation lap. So more beer chat coming in the longer formation laps. Don't you worry. I can hear you panicking. Right, we will keep an eye on what goes on this first race of season 3. Lights are on and we are awake here, and it looks like it's been a cracking start there for Albert, almost side by side with Granty Boy instantly. Let's see if he can keep that going. He's got the inside line into this first turn, but Granty Boy has now edged himself back ahead here and has already taken a good sort of commanding lead into turn number 3. Further down the order, we've got some big movers. We've got Joseph Mirados dropping quite a few places. Virtual safety car already, and a 5-second penalty. There. ZGS, I believe, and Chatty Duck possibly involved in an incident. I can see a bit of front wing missing for Chatty Duck, but straight away with a virtual safety car, we'll get the detail on for the position change so we can get an idea of where these guys have lost positions. So Joseph Mirados, 14 places down, definitely a shocking start there. He's going to be carrying some damage, I should think, on the first lap here. And we've got a brilliant start, however, for Osborne, who puts himself up to 8th in the Haas, and then Butler and Willis also feeling the benefit of the tough starts for the rest of the pack. So virtual safety car lap 1 here. We've got ZGS, Joseph Mirados, Chatty Duck, Peter, all in the pits. Joseph Mirados quite hasn't made it to the pits, so I think he's carrying on. But we're back up to racing speed.
Looking at his car there, Tom, he didn't seem to have any damage. I think from the angle I had a little look at is it almost looks like the incident between ZGS and Chatty Duck, then on avoidance to that, I think Mirados just sort of got a bit sideways and slipped off the track. I don't know if there was necessarily any damage.
Right, okay.
His car, so.
Well, we'll ride on board with Granty Boy then as we try to get a bearing of where everyone is at the moment. So Granty Boy has already pulled himself out a decent looking lead over Albert. I know it's listing Granty Boy's second at the moment on the screen, but that's just a glitch. We're going to have him jump ahead of Peter at the moment. Peter currently in the pits. I'm sure the game will sort that out. So already a 1.5 second lead for Granty Boy. over Al, but there we go, it's all reset itself now. Mogi staying in third position, then UFC fan Liam in fourth. So the starting sort of front row as we were at the start there. But again, fantastic start from Osborne. Got to give him a shout in the Haas, getting himself all the way up to 8th. We see Butters having a little fight there with Rockstar as well, the other Haas driver, as they head down the Hanger Straight. And this is where I expect a lot of the overtaking to be done. Obviously, no DRS in the wet conditions. 2 Haas drivers side by side heading into that turn as well. It looks like it's going to be the inside line for Osborne, who's going to take the position over his teammate Rockstar as they head into these final couple of turns. We'll ride on board with Rockstar, who, yeah, you can see the back of his teammate Osborne at the moment, but hopefully he'll be able to pull him round and put himself into contention with that fight with Butters as well.
Yeah, the last thing these two guys want to do is fight with each other and risk losing Butters. So,
yeah,
you know, from that perspective...
I was going to say, we've got Butler as well, having a really good look at the back of Rockstar. So is he going to lose 2 positions in 2 laps here, which will be a bit of a disaster? Butler was one of our quickest drivers that we saw towards the end of last season, picking up a couple of podiums on his first couple of races with the SlyDog Racing League. That will be an interesting battle to keep an eye on. So Williams against the 2 Haas.
Yeah, and himself and M. Willis already, both of them, up 7 places from their starting position. So these guys are having a great race so far.
Great race so far. Yeah, fantastic stuff so far. I'll tell you who's not having a great race, and that is Glanty Boy's teammate. We're currently sitting in the biggest sandwich we have ever seen at the moment.
Oh, that is one huge sandwich we've got going on right there.
If you ordered that at Subway, they kick you out.
100%,
you can't have that many
100%.
toppings. You're taking the piss.
That's ludicrous.
Oh, who's that just got off the track there? I saw a Ferrari put himself off the track. I think that might have been Pressing Mixer, who was, I don't know what was going on. He was just sort of parked up on the side of the track. But anyways, alas, we carry on and try and keep up with the action here. So, close battle going on between Rockstar and Osborne. Looks like Rockstar has taken the position back from his Haas teammate. So a little bit of inter-team fighting.
On the inside of both of them.
Oh, is that 3 don't go into 2 or 1 or whatever it is there, but it looks like everyone's made it through unscathed. Fantastic move from Butler. Oh, look at that. So we were just saying, it's going to be a good battle. He's going to have to work to get through both of them. And he's just done it all in one move. You've now got Willis as well, having a right good look at the back of Osborne. We'll ride on board with him. Fantastic fight between these 4 going on at the moment. As then actually Willis
in on a bit of that action.
He wants a bit of that action, yeah. He's just dropped back a little bit now, actually, as we said that, and jinxed it, unfortunately. But further up the order, we've got NUSC fan Liam, who's only 5/10 away from the other Williams driver. That will be Mogi, fighting for that final podium position at the moment. Crazy, we're already 6 laps in. That's gone so quick.
It has, but so far, it also looks like... Oh, I thought there was another move there on the 2 Haas drivers having a go at each other again.
It's looking tight between these 2. I mean, I know they're new teammates, and I think they're going to have to maybe have a word and maybe decide on some team orders or something. But it is getting a little bit dangerous between the 2 of them. I think you can see Osborne just backing off a little bit there, maybe just going to use his teammate for a bit of a tow round here and see if he can not just overtake his teammate, but overtake some other people as well.
Yeah, I think worth mentioning that Rockstar, both the front runners in the top 10, you've got Rockstar and NUFC Family, and both running 3-second penalties as we speak. So, what with this being such a short circuit and everyone being so tight together at the moment, penalties could come into.
Penalties could be massive, and as we were saying, we saw loads of invalidated laps in qualifying. So I think we're going to see more and more penalties as we head round here. We'll ride on board with Butler then, who is already having a right good look at the rear of Butters. Having made that brilliant move on the Haas about 2 or 3 laps earlier, straight away wanting to get himself up the order, and he's doing a fantastic job at the moment. And I think we had a bit of a chat between ourselves about what the teams to look out for. Well, as I say that, Rockstar's just gone up the inside of him. We'll ride on board with Rockstar because he was side by side with Butler for a moment there, but it looks like the gap has reopened.
Off the circuit as well. We've got is that Woolsey or Pressing Mixer off the circuit?
I think that's Pressing Mixer, who unfortunately,
and Woolsey by the look of it.
Oh, and Woolsey, yeah. So not a great start for those two. Ferraris in general, Professor Mixer and Chatty Duck currently sitting 18th and 19th. Peter, however, has managed to get himself off the bottom of the pack there and get himself up to 17th. So no longer the biggest sandwich in history.
Unfortunately, looking at the front of Chatty Duck's car, does look like he's taken some damage. So he's unfortunately having a bit of a shocker of a race here.
Bit of a shocker. We've got Wheeler, who was one of the guys we mentioned in qualifying for DNF in qualifying. He's getting very close to Trem, who looked to have a bit of a wobble there through that first turn. He's going to have a really good go around the outside, but no, he's not going to in the end. But he might get something done here on the Hangar Straight. We'll ride on board with him. Cars sliding all over the place here. Looks like it's going to be really difficult to push later on in this race.
Tough move there as well. What with Joseph Rados sitting so close behind B Wheeler, so the more he has a little look at the inside of Trem, he's going to want to get that move done quickly to avoid.
Oh, Trem's gone off. Trem loses it there, and he's not out the race, but he has taken some damage, I should think, as well. Luckily, he's right at the pit entrance, so he can get in and get that resolved. So Wheeler, just by putting the pressure on, possibly forcing Trem into an error there, that would be a disaster for the Renault driver, as Wheeler then takes 12th place comfortably. The battle for reverse grid pole looking pretty good for Willis at the moment. He's sitting in 10th with a good sort of 3-second gap over Lawson, so he'll be wanting to maintain that to make sure he gets the best possible start in Russia.
Meanwhile, we've got B Wheeler once again. He just had a little moment as he runs into sector 2. He had a little slip slide as he headed onto the Hangar Straight, which did allow Joseph Rados to get alongside, but nothing quite came of it. So still Wheeler running 12th, Rados in 13th.
We're going to ride on board with Butler then, who is right on the rear wing of Butters now as they head round the final corner there onto the start-finish straight. Will he try and get a move done on this lap? I should think so, because he literally can't get any closer without touching him as they head round into those final corners. We'll ride on board for the better view. Go on.
Looking at that lineup again, though, we see that Rockstar's moved himself up to 6th. So whilst we've been focusing on the battle with Rados, Trem, and Wheeler, it looks like Rockstar done Butler and Butters. So a bit of a taste of Butler's own medicine, getting 2 places taken
in very quick succession, yeah. And now he's setting his sights on James Punt as well, but he has got a good 3.8 second gap to make up there before he can put himself into that fight. Looking at the top of the order then, so Granty Boy has already pulled out almost a 10-second lead rival, which is Albert. If these guys were still teammates, God, it would be pure domination at the moment, but not anymore. We've now got Albert sticking with the Racing Point, Granty Boy in the Red Bull. Mogi currently sitting in the final podium position, but he has got NUFC fan Liam less than a second away, but carrying a 3-second penalty. So as long as Mogi can stay consistent, he's going to be fine here.
And I think the move's being done. I think Butler has got Butters.
They're side by side heading down the Hangar Straight. Butler's going to have the inside line as they decide who's latest on the brakes. Butters gets it back though, possibly braking a bit later there, and is going to stay in front of him for another lap at least. So Butler looking like he's having another look round here. Very difficult place to overtake there, especially in the wet, and you're trying to worry about getting the power down. But what that has done is opened the door for Osborne to get back involved with this fight, and you can see that Osborne is now getting very close to the rear wing of Butler there. Butler has left the session, disappointing. Butler's left the session, must have had a connection issue, because he's now going to lose that place to Osborne. That is a massive shame, because that fight was looking very good. So that's a bit of a disaster for the Williams driver, and he'll be on the phone to BT complaining. Butters pulls himself out a nice second gap there as well, so give himself a bit of breathing room. That's a nice. Go on.
All 3 front runners now beginning that pit strategy, so it's looking like they're going to go for that one stop, straight back out on the inters. So we've got Grant, Mogi, and Albert, and James Punt as well. All 4 of those front runners going into pit lane.
So yeah, we'll have a look at the pit stops that have been done at the moment then. So we've got majority of the field using these next couple of laps as the pit window. Probably going to be a 1-stop here. There was a 2-stop option, but I don't see that being viable on such a quick race. Riding on board with Joseph Morados, he's going to take Butler as well. as we say, Butler has lost connection to this session, which is a massive shame because he was doing so well in this race. We'll ride back on board with Rockstar then at the moment, who is the leader currently, having not pit, but Granty Boy, having put himself in the pits already, is only 7 seconds behind. So it just goes to show the dominance that is happening here from the Red Bull driver, just unstoppable in the wet.
Yeah, he's looking really, really quick around here, and obviously, like we said, short laps. He's managing it well once again. He's managed that gap. He's pulled that gap out, and then once again, he's set a fastest sector 3 by the look of it. Well,
Wouldn't surprise me if we see a fastest lap here in a second. He's already holding it a 50.227, and we'll see those lap times tumble now. Now he's on the fresher set of tyres as well, I should think, as he starts to get them into that nice window. Yellow flag in sector 3. We'll keep an eye on what's going on there.
yeah, it looks like we've got. Not. I'm gonna say it was Woolsey.
Looks like it was possibly
in
Woolsey there going off the track
Yeah,
slightly.
and he's just head off again. He's just lost it again in that Alpha. Unfortunate for him. I think the rain might just be getting to him a little bit.
Yeah, it is tough.
What did
It
you say
is very
there, Tom?
tough.
Fastest lap.
As he just said it, has he?
49.7. Cracking lap. He's taken that gap between himself and Rockstar from 7 seconds to 5 seconds in just the one lap. So,
Yeah, no, fantastic
quick
work
stuff.
from the current champion. So just keep an eye on who's yet to pit. So we've got Joseph Morados and Rockstar are the only two who are yet to make a stop. So sort of ignore their names from the top of the order because they will have to come in at some point. I don't see them making it all the way on those tyres. But looking at the rest of the order, it's pretty much as we were. And the gaps have opened up a little bit now as well. I'd say that the closest battle we're going to be looking at is Osborne and Willis. So we'll ride on board with Osborne for a little bit here. Willis moved himself up into 9th from all of the pit stop chaos. Obviously, we were talking about him earlier as reverse grid pole, but at the moment he's looking like it's scoring some brilliant points for the Racing Point team, with Albert currently in 4th position. But again, really it's net second with the pit stops that are yet to be done. So Osborne getting very close to the Racing Point here as they head round the final couple of turns. We'll keep on board to maybe see if they can get a move done into Sector 1 or Sector 2 of this next lap. Osborne been a brilliant move already in that battle we saw with himself, his teammate Rockstar, and of course Butters earlier on in this race.
yeah, there were some fantastic moves being made there. It was a really exciting battle to watch. It looks like we've got another yellow flag, sector 2. Is that? And the rear end, it looks Chatty Duck this time. Unfortunately, spun the Ferrari round.
Not having a good day.
Straight.
Not having a good day as
very
Chatty
good
Doug
day
at
here.
all. Unfortunately, holding up the table there. Osborne having a good look on the inside here at the end of the straight. He's going to have the inside line. Willis has to be careful. Osborne goes off the track ever so slightly with his 2 right tyres. Willis is going to stick it into the final couple of turns here. But again, he's getting closer and closer every lap. And are we going to see a move done very shortly? We'll ride on board with the rear wing, I think, of Willis to see if anything can happen between these two. We're just looking down the order for some closer battles as well. I believe Butler is back in the session, so he's going to be wanting to fight himself back into the points here, because he was looking very strong at one point during this race, and it's a massive shame that he had to lose connection, because you could see him maybe getting himself into maybe the top 6 here and scoring some brilliant points for the Williams team. The Williams duo is looking strong at the moment, aren't they? Mogi and Butler.
Oh, definitely. We said that they were going to be a really, really good pairing, I think, on the media evening. So, excited to watch this, and very excited if it stays like this. Russia, I believe, was Butler's first outing with us in season 2, and he secured that 3rd position. So he's going to be one to watch, I think, in Russia. He was extremely, extremely quick. So that'll be a good one to watch.
I'm just riding on board with him at the moment, and he's had a little bit of a moment there with Wheeler as they head side by side round in the final turn. But Butler makes a brilliant move there, capitalising on the wide exit there of Wheeler into that final turn. So straight away he's got himself into 11th, and you get the feeling that if he can somehow claw back 5 seconds and get himself into 10th, that he is going to be in for a very good shout here when it comes to that race in Russia. Put himself on reverse grid pole.
Definitely. I mean, there's 6 laps to do it, and I'm just trying to work out who was the most recent to get out of himself and Osborne. I believe it was Osborne. So you'd like to think potentially advantage to Osborne if he's got the fresher tyres, but I can see Butler catching him, to be honest. He's looked quick.
One thing I'm noticing is we've got Rockstar who hasn't come into the pits yet, and he's got 6 laps to go. I mean, I don't know if they've got regulation on here where, you know, you have to make a pit stop or what, but it doesn't look like he's bothering at the moment. He's just going to go, maybe try and take it all the way to the end of the race, and he's not going to finish first.
He's got granted 0.6 of a second for company, so it's going to be tight.
He's not going to finish first, but he might give himself an impromptu podium here by trying to stick out with the tyres. But again, I'm not too sure if they'll add a penalty on at the end because he hasn't made a pit stop. I don't quite know if that's part of the rules here or not.
Equally, we say this, that neither is Joseph Rados.
No.
So it's going to be interesting. But down the hanger straight, we see Grant make the move up the inside.
Yeah, it's inevitable, especially with Grant on the fresher tyres. Rockstar looking like he's maybe just nursing this one home, which, you know, isn't a bad strategy since only 5 laps to go. The guy we were tending to keep an eye on, Butler, 5.5 seconds. Yeah, make that 3.5 seconds with 5 laps to go. He is steaming round here. Fantastic work. But
equally, I think we've got, if you look just ahead, Osborne and then Willis. There's a little bit of a battle going on there. Osborne
that
right
could be
up
helping
behind
him.
Willis. You know, this could be causing, you know, a little bit of a defensive drive from Willis, just slowing him down a little bit, allowing Butler that time to catch up. So I think this is going to be a tasty ending.
Very tasty indeed. Tasty.
Almost as tasty as Elvis's juice.
Elvis's juice. I can't say the same about the Sour Solstice, unfortunately. It's all right. It's a novelty beer. I don't think I'd be sipping this every week.
Not a session beer.
Not a session beer. No, you can't drink more than one of these. Right, Butler has already closed it down to almost 2.5 seconds. 4 laps to go. This is the battle we're going to want to keep an eye on. It looks like the deal at the top is done with Granty Boy taking first position quite comfortably here. He's got a massive gap between himself and Albert, who is the next driver who pit.
Yellow flag, sector 3. Looks like Trem's just taken another. Route, unfortunately.
Yeah, 2 moments now where Trem has come off the track, unfortunately. And it's a shame because he was looking like he was putting in some quick laps in qualifying. And he's gone off again there. So, yeah, really struggling for grip out there is the Renault driver. And hopefully he can just nurse it home here without too much of a...
Sector 2 as well. We see Sector 2 incident. Looks like Wolsey. Yep, Wolsey down the hanger straight. I think his tyres are just about gone. So
just about dead.
Yeah, I think this is the point where we're going to start seeing that. You know, as the track finds that moderately dry line, the tyres are getting hotter and hotter. You know what it's like trying to drive wet tyres in dry conditions. They just heat up so quick, and then they're gone.
They'll burn out so quick. There won't be much left of them by the end of the race. Think back to Lewis Hamilton in Turkey last year, turning his intermediates basically into slicks. Worked for him. Why can't we do it in SlyDog? Butler now 2.5 back, so this gap is getting closer and closer. Literally every lap we go by is taking off around about 0.7, 0.8 of a second. Osborne still having a good look at Willis as well. So right on board with Osborne here. He's going to maybe try and late break it in here. No, he's going to stave off what would have been a bit of a dive bomb move. He's just going to keep his distance and try and pressure Willis into maybe making a mistake. But in all honesty, maybe Osborne wants to sit there because he's looking good for a reverse grid pole. Butler is now within a couple of tenths, so within
I was going to say,
6
just
tenths.
If you switch,
we're going to ride on board with Butler. This is the
view. I just saw Butler creeping in the rear end of the shot there.
Fantastic. We're going to ride on board with Butler because this is the battle I think that's going to be the closest here towards the end. I should say Albert has just put himself into 3rd position, so overtaking Joseph Morales in the end there. Joseph obviously trying to stick it out on those tyres for a podium position. Not quite going to work out for him. We'll ride on board then. So final laps coming up.
Sector 2. Sorry, Tom. Sector 2. It looks like we've got. Is that a Haas? It's just dropped down the order there. I can't
No,
see
I think that's a Ferrari.
Yeah,
that was a Ferrari that's dropped off.
Yeah, it was just quite low on mine. So they've had a shocker, unfortunately. Either way,
So-
still keeping an eye on Butters there, though, Tom. Keep an eye on Butters. This is going to get exciting for the
Butters or Butler?
final. Butler, my bad.
God damn it,
Why do
Aaron.
people choose names so close to each other? Oh,
How dare they? Right, we're keeping an eye on Butler, don't worry. Butler's looking very close now, 0.3 of a second away. I don't think he's going to have enough to try and get a move done on this final straight, but there is another lap left in it for these guys, because Granty Boy has done a bit of lapping here. So we are going to see another lap of this action. Ooh, it's getting tense, and I think it's all going to come to a head on this final lap. Butler having a little dig there, but he's not going to get enough room to try and make a move. We see Mogi jump up to 4th position as well. Joseph Morados, I think, has come off the track or something, because he's dropping down the order very quickly. So the no-stop strategy proving not the greatest there, as he loses a couple of positions. Butters with a DNF as well, so that's massive, because that puts Butler onto reverse grid pole now. He doesn't need to take 9th position. So Butters, what a disaster for the Renault guys.
He'll be relaxed by that, really, but I mean, he's still going to
I
want to
mean,
get
Butler's still having a go. He's going to do it down the hanger straight here. Oh, just don't mess it up, because you've already got reverse grid pole.
Well.
He's got it done. Fantastic. Brilliant work from the Williams driver.
But also, equally brilliant work from M. Willis as well, up 9 places. These the two guys here, Butler and M. Willis.
Joseph Morados
so
is going to
close.
lose out as well. So Butler's going to take 8th here. Fantastic work in the end of that race there from Butler and a couple of the guys towards the bottom of the grid. He does drop down to 9th with penalties though, but still, to get himself into the points after dropping out the session, Willis gets driver of the day from the game. We'll have a little look at that in a minute and decide who our driver of the day was. But very entertaining stuff there, right in the middle of the pack for sort of 7th to 13th position.
That was that was really exciting to watch that there between the Haas guys, the racing point of M. Willis and of course the Williams of Butler. So fantastic bit of racing there, especially in the wet as well. Usually wet races can be quite the opposite.
Can be a bit of a killer, the wet race, can't it? But it's not proven to be so there. So let's have it then, Aaron. We'll just run through the top 3. We should. Rockstar managing to go no stops and get himself a podium. Brilliant work there for Haas, who were really struggling for points last year, but doesn't look to be that way this year. Granty takes the first win of the season with his ex-teammate Albert taking 2nd position. But looking at the order there, I think driver of the day, I think it has to go to Butler.
See, I would say from racecraft, from the drive that we saw, I'd be agreeing with you. From 16th on the grid, he fought all the way.
And he had the loss of connection.
Yeah.
I think that goes a long way into it as well. To be disrupted in your rhythm like that and then to come back into it and gain the positions, and he really had to put the chase on to Osborne as well for those last couple of laps, and he did brilliantly
and
there.
got the move done.
He got the move done. I know he lost the position in the end for penalties or something, but I think Butler well deserved of the driver of the day there.
Indeed, completely in agreement there.
Fantastic. I think we're going to take a little break.
Yep, we're going to take a couple of minutes and we'll be back ever so soon.
Are you going to crack open the new beer?
I will be.
Fantastic.
Get ready to be blasted by the bishop's finger.
Oh, here we go. Just like Sunday school. I can't wait to throw this shit down the sink. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Right, and we're straight back in it. So we're back into Russia and back into the 25% distance as well. So really just trying to recap the final lap heroics there from Butler, putting himself into a really good position for this race. And as we discussed, a brilliant deserver of our Driver of the Day award for that race. Russia, as we've already discussed, we really like this track, both me and Aaron. Fantastic racing last time out here. We saw a cracking final lap, and you can see the highlights on our YouTube video from the last race here. If you wanted to catch that before we get cracking here, have a quick look, because it was crazy stuff. There was controversy. There was a spin on the line as well. We had 4 guys going into one corner. It had everything, that final lap, and no pressure. No pressure around here now. We just want to see exactly the same thing, please.
Oh, exactly. And as usual, if you're going to do something, make it spectacular. Exactly.
Make it a big crash. Make it worth talking about. Now, whilst we've got, again, another little gap here between ourselves and the formation lap and the start of this race, I think it's time we catch up with a little bit more beer chat. Aaron, we're on to the Bishop's Finger, I now believe.
Yep, the Bishop's Finger is happening. It's a Shepherd Neame beer. It's classed as a Kentish strong ale. Currently sitting at 5.4%.
Currently, is it planned to change anytime soon? Or?
Well, I plan to change it from the bottle to my belly.
Ooh, strong words. Okay.
Depends where the bishop plans on putting his finger, really, doesn't it?
Hey, nothing like a casual Catholic church joke.
But I'd like to, whilst they're on the formation lap, I'll just quickly tell you that it's a classic Kentish strong ale, and it takes its name from the name of an ancient signpost on the Pilgrim's Way, pointing pilgrims to the shrine of Thomas Becket. There we go. History.
That's changed my life, Baz. Thank you so much for sharing. I honestly, thank you, because, wonderful, amazing.
And what's your second here?
I've gone for something I've not tried before, which is always a bit of a risk, but I like to take risks. It's called Vedette, Vedett. It is an extra blonde premium lager, and we're sitting at 5% for this bad boy. Comes in a little brown bottle, no, not a big one, just a 330 milliliter. Says here you can personalise your own Vedette extra bottle. So I might have a little look at that in a minute and see if I can get a SlyDog Racing League branded one.
That'd be a classic.
Copyright pending. But yeah, I'm not too sure what I'm looking at here, because I honestly bought it thinking it's going to be like a Leffe. Like one of those.
When you describe it as a blonde lager, I automatically think sort of Leffe Belgian style Belgian beer. So
I've just poured it, and it just looks like any random beer. Doesn't look like nothing special. Let's just have a little taste. 2 secs. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I was going to say the same with mine. Bishop's Finger at the moment is absolutely giving the Elvis juice to finger, really, to be fair.
I mean, Bishop would.
100%.
Yeah, it's the same for me. The Vedette just shits all over the blood orange cranberry sour infused shit that I've just drunk. That hurt, by the way. I had like a quarter of a cup of that left, and I was like, you know what, I ain't wasting this. I paid good money from Tesco's. It's part of their 4 for £6 deal. Let's just do it. And that was a bad decision. That was terrible.
It's always worth a risk. But either way, very quickly, just going to look here at the pit strategy that just pops up on the screen. So looking like soft to medium or soft to hard. We're running a 25%, and I'm thinking soft to medium, really.
Soft to medium all day. Yeah, I think that's going to be the winner. So 13 laps around here. Obviously nowhere near as long as the last race in terms of lappage, but the lap time's obviously a lot longer around here. So lights are coming on. We'll keep an eye on the front here. We've got the Alfa Romeo of Joseph Morados gets us underway as we head down this long run into turn 1. We've already got Butler, though, making a brilliant move into the lead, and we've got 3 wide from the Haas as well, getting in on the action. That's the Haas of Osborne, that is. Let's see who's going to be bravest on the brakes here. Almost 4 wide into that first turn as we see M. Willis get into the action. This is Clipwind City this turn, and it doesn't look like anyone's come away too damaged there. All very much bunched together as they head round the long sweeping left-hander of turn 3. A bit of movement for Osborne. He's dropped 2 places after that cracking start, and NUFC fan Liam takes his place in 3rd position. But Butler has held on to the lead so far. We can see a battle going on between James Punt and Albert as well. And then a big push to one side from Butters. Yellow flag as well, and that is Woolsey, unfortunately, who's come off the track in Sector 1 there. So he's straight away back down to the bottom of the order. Plenty of action going on behind the 10th position here of Landcam. We've got Mogi, who's having a battle with Peter W, and Granty Boy, who's dropped 3 positions as well. So starting 10th down to 13th, so not the best start for the reigning champ here.
Yeah, but I mean, it was out of nowhere, just off that start line, out of nowhere, NUFC fan Liam in that McLaren absolutely shot out the blocks there. Fantastic start.
And Mogi takes Lawson as well, and Peter looking to get straight in on that action, taking advantage of Lawson's poor exit in that turn. Oh, and they've come off the track there and clipped the wall of both of them. So that was Lawson and Peter.
Rejoining the circuit, nearly took out his teammate Grant there as well at the same time, as we see Grant dipping into the pit lane as well. So
oh, that's going to be a bit of damage, I think. And we see Lawson go into the pit lane also. So a bit of a shame for those guys. But let's just catch up with the top of the order then. So it's showing here we've got NUFC fan Liam at the top, but I think this is the game doing a bit of a reshuffle.
I think it may well be Joseph Rados.
Something happened to Butler.
Is currently Joseph Rados is in the pit lane, and I'm not too sure what's happened here.
No, Joseph Rados is in the lead, and Butler is second. So Joseph Rados has taken the lead back off of Butler. NUFC fan Liam in 3rd. So we'll stick with Joseph Rados. God damn it, I hate it when this game does this. I need to fix that. And you can see the guys at the top of the leaderboard there who are in the pits. They're going to come round and cycle to the back very shortly. So nightmare start for the Red Bulls. Peter and Granty Boy both having to head into the pits earlier on.
I'm just also gonna point out here that, you know, these guys who have dipped into the pits early doors, lap 3, you know, medium tires, you could make them last this distance, 13 laps. That's going to be, I think, doable. But we see also that
by the end of it, they're going to be shredded.
Tires. Yeah, that's the problem. But I think, you know, we've seen Grant linger some tyres out, so this could be interesting on his half. But Albert started on the mediums, so he's going to look for a quick end.
Absolutely. If you wanted a challenge for the champion, this is going to be it, isn't it? Trying to see if he can get himself back into the points here come the end of this race. He's got 10 laps to do so. We'll ride on board with Butler then, who is trying to hunt down 1st position and gain that lead back. Obviously, we missed the move for Joseph Morales taking the lead because we were keeping an eye on the craziness that was going on behind us. Maybe we'll just recap the order very quickly as well. So we've got Joseph Morales and Butler in 1st and 2nd. NUFC fan Liam and Willis making up 3rd and 4th. We've then got Osborne, Albert, Butters, James Punt and Landcam, 2 Mercedes there, stuck in a Renault sandwich. Love a sandwich.
We've got a sandwich. Oh no,
we've got a sandwich.
We've got a baguette.
We've got a baguette. That's
Let's just be
French baguette.
Cultured.
Politically correct. Is that where we're going with this?
Yeah, it is more culture, isn't it? I think.
Culture. Penalties then. So let's have a quick recap of the penalties. We've got 2nd to 4th both running, all running 3-second penalties, and then the same for 8th to 10th at the moment. So there is going to be plenty of movement come the end of this race.
Do you know what we've got there, Tom? We've got a bloody penalty sandwich.
Penalty sandwich. 1st for SlyDog Racing League. Thank you, Aaron.
Bruno Fernandez's favourite.
I hate United. Butler's getting very close to Joseph Morales. I've got to say as well, the battle at the front here is looking very interesting. 3 cars all within very close times of each other. NUFC fan Liam. Go on.
DRS also active, I think, this lap, so this could be a point where we see Butler looking to make that change if he gets a good exit out of turn 3. I believe, is it this lap it activates?
I think it was active on the last lap. There we are. He's got the DRS here. So let's see if he can get the job done before they head down into turn 2. Here at Russia, which is notorious for causing controversy because it's such a difficult one to get right. But no, Joseph Morales does keep it together, but we still have another DRS zone to go here. We'll ride on board still with Butler as they, you know, this gap isn't getting any bigger. Joseph Morales isn't pulling away, and we know that Butler has the pace to keep with him this entire race. But equally, he's got NUFC fan Liam on his heels, another very quick driver, and Joseph Morales himself, we know, is able to put in the laps when he needs to. We can see Granty Boy just on the screen as well, climbing up the order now into 13th. So we're going to keep an eye on him as he inevitably tries to make his way through the field, but he's already got 21 seconds to make up on pressing Mixer to take 12th position. So that seems like that's a bit of a difficult task. But if there's a man up for it, it's him.
Oh, indeed. We said last time out that, you know, he's had to do this before, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But we just see a move from NUFC fan Liam.
Oh, and a bit of wing going flying there, and that was NUFC fan Liam's wing that went flying. I think that might have been his end plate on the right there.
Yeah, I think he just tried to make that move.
Yeah, he's lost that end plate. And he's got himself a 3-second penalty as well by doing that, and there he is going into the pits to get that sorted. So it makes it a 2-horse race at the front now. Obviously, he's still got the pit stop, but he's going to have to get that wing changed, which is going to massively hamper him in this upcoming pit stop. So Butler now 8/10 off, with Willis sitting pretty in 3rd position at the moment. Got a second gap over Osborne, but 5 seconds to make up if he's going to be trouble in these front two.
And equally, Willis now has his teammate Albert Whitty, who just takes a safety road into turn.
Yeah, but he's still going to keep the position over Osborne,
kept the position, and it's a legal move to go down that road if required.
And he's going to take 3rd as well, very easily there. I think his teammate possibly yielding, but in doing that, he's also going to be losing position to Osborne, it seems here. Osborne's got the inside line. Is he going to make it stick? Ooh. He's not. That was close. Whew.
Great
and
move
Butters getting in on the action as well. He's going to take the position off of Osborne, it seems. Nope, they're going to be side by side heading into this corner. Osborne with the inside line should hold it together. Yeah, he has to cede that position in the end and let Osborne take the lead. Otherwise, that could have ended badly. But we have got DRS zone coming up, so we'll ride on board with Butters and see if he can get the move done here on the Hash driver. Osborne having a couple of cracking races so far, and the battle that happened in Britain between these two very much continuing here already. Not going to be able to get the move done in that DRS zone. What was the
100%, I mean, like, I was just watching that move there. M. Willis, fantastic work on the brakes there. Broke as late as he could and just carried that power through that corner so smoothly. It was tight on Osborne's car there, but it was a great piece of work there from Willis. So
Albert comes into the pits now. He started on the medium tyres, did he not?
He did, yes. So he's now going to be shifting towards the softs. 7 laps on the soft seems, to do the longer stint on the soft seems interesting.
A difficult move there as we see Osborne finally get the move done over Willis there on the main straight using the DRS. So Butler has now dropped back 5 seconds to Joseph Morados. Not sure what happened there, if there was a bit of a moment for Butler or if he just completely lost.
I think he lost connection again there. I think it just came up that he left the session momentarily. So he'll have time to make that back up, but it's going to be a little bit of an ask. They've both still got to stop, and Butler does also have a penalty now, so he's going to have a bit of work to do if he wants to take victory here. But he's on his 2nd podium here.
He's dropping back as well. I'm not convinced that he's back in the session yet, in all honesty, because he's dropping back even as we speak, and that is a massive shame, because again he looked so good in the final stages of that last race. Although maybe he's back now because he's putting up a fight with Osborne here. But Osborne looking like he's going to take 2nd position as they head down the 2nd DRS zone, and he is going to do so. So yeah, still plenty of stopping to be done by the top 8 drivers, and the intervals disappeared from my screen at the moment as well, so it's difficult to keep track of what's going on. But we'll just head a bit further down the order, maybe just keep an eye on Butters here. Looks to be getting very close to the rear of Willis and putting him under a bit of pressure. Albert has rejoined in 10th position now on those softs, and Granty Boy is now only a couple of seconds probably away from getting himself back into the points as well. So brilliant recovery drive so far from Granty Boy if he can end up with some points at the end of this race. Butters is going to take the outside line round here into turn 2 and to turn 3. He's going to have to go off the track to get the move done, and he has got it done. So brilliant work there from the Renault, probably flirting with the lines of it being legal, but he has got the move done there over Willis.
I was going to say, yeah, that was looking a little bit tight there, really, and pushing some boundaries a touch. But he's got the job done. He's up 7 places, so crack and drive. But he can just looking a little bit further down, in 8th position, pressing Victor in the Ferrari, trying to regain a little bit from their drive there, up 10 places. So from 18th to 8th now, so he's having a really, really decent race here.
It's a cracking start, he is yet to stop. He is the last of the drivers who is yet to stop. So we probably will see him drop down the order, unfortunately, when he does inevitably come into that pit stop. And he's on those softs as well, which are going to be nearing their limit, I think, for this race at the moment. So another good start to keep an eye out there is Butters, up seven positions at the moment into 4th, but again yet to stop and carrying a penalty. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on there. Of the drivers that have stopped, we've got, I think it's NUFC fan Liam, Albert, who has the net lead at the moment. Actually, he's just overtaken NUFC fan Liam. So sorry, missed that move, but they're still going at it. So we'll ride on board here, I think, with NUFC fan Liam, as he tries to maybe get one back on the Racing Point driver, heading across the start-finish line. But Albert, I believe, is on those soft tyres, so he's going to have a tyre advantage here.
And I'd also like to point out that if Albert is your net leader and NUFC fan Liam is your net 2nd place, Grant, who's now running 11th, is right behind the pair of them.
But he did have to get in the pits early, and his tyres are going to be going a lot quicker.
It's going to be a tough call, but it's...
but he's looking strong at the moment. I mean, I don't know if he'll be able to keep up this pace for the rest of the 5 laps that are remaining, but he's looking very good at the moment. But I think with the pit stops that are to be made, I mean, as long as they're not massively long and have to get wings changed, we're going to see Joseph Morales come around about the same time. What was the yawl?
Sector 1, yellow flag. Unfortunately, looks like M. Willis has dropped back down the order on turn 1. Didn't quite see what happened there, but he's got D. Lawson for company now. He's running currently 12th.
I think he might have come into pit and he's probably had a bit of an incident coming out the pit lane there. He's now on the medium tyre.
On the mediums now, and I think he has come into pit, but it looks like as he rejoined the circuit, and we know what it's like rejoining here. It drops you right in it.
Right in it, yeah. Not much room for manoeuvre, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately not.
Grandy Boy is going to take the 9th position off of NUFC fan Liam on this 2nd DRS zone, and he's only got a second to make up on Albert. So, once everyone has made their pit stops, and we're starting to see the front runners make their pit stops, we want to keep an eye on where Joseph Morales comes out here. So he's just sitting in the pits at the moment. I don't know what's going on there. Has he lost connection or something? But he's losing a lot of time there. Oh, it's just ended for me.
It has for me as well. So we've got an issue here.
Oh, technical problems.
Technical problems, which is very interesting. Right. So, I mean,
so as soon as this has happened before. As soon as we find out what has happened, we will we'll obviously let you guys know. We've had this happen before, and I've rejoined the session, and then eventually it's got going again. So I will try that, obviously, to try and get us back into the action as soon as possible. But it is rather frustrating that has happened. I can't even find the invite now for the session, so that's annoying. And for me, it's just showing that I'm completely out the session.
Likewise here. So we've still got some stuff to digest, and it looks like people have said in the Discord chat that it has ended for them as well. So let me just see what we can do here. In the meantime, Tom, how's that beer going? Yeah,
the beer's going down the treat. I mean, from the massive disappointment that was the sour solstice. I say disappointment. It's one of them ones. You know what? On a cold day, on a warm day with maybe, in one of them posher glasses, the sort of vase type big bottomed glass, that could have been a winner. But as just your standard beer, your standard drinking beer, you can't drink more than one of them in one session, because you'll just implode from how sour it is. No beer should taste like that. And that is the God's honest truth.
That doesn't sound too exciting.
I'm all up for a novelty beer, put some candy floss in there, lace it with ecstasy, do what you want. But it's just there's a limit, and you blood orange was actually quite nice. I like blood orange, and I'm a massive fan of blood orange, especially San Pellegrino blood orange. That's very tasty. But
Oh, you can't knock a San Pellegrino.
you can't knock a San Pellegrino. I mean, Zzz's pasta and San Pellegrino. That's what it's all about. But cranberry sour, it's a bit much. It just tastes like one of them shots at a club that you got for free. And the only reason you went in there was to get that free shot, and you immediately, you go for the free shot. You maybe buy one other drink, you use the lose, you get out to the main club, and that's what the sour solstice reminded me of. However, the vedette is bringing, it's putting some hairs back onto my chest. It's making me feel a lot more manly about my life choices. And you know what? If I see it again in Tesco's, I might pick up another bottle.
Yeah, that's fair play. That's absolutely fair play.
It's got a lot of it's full bodied. It hits you. All those hops, they just hit you hard. How are we doing with the Bishop's Finger? Is he deep inside yet?
Oh mate, he's getting deep inside. It's good. I'm a fan of it. It's a beer I've tried before. It's just purely the name always makes me chuckle. So you
rightly
can't
so
knock
as
that.
well.
I can give you a heads up for the other two for next week. We've got an old crafty hen sitting around and a hobgoblin ruby. To be fair, I haven't tried the hobgoblin ruby. I've always been a big fan of the classic hobgoblin, and they do a king goblin as well, which is an absolute beast of a beer. That's lush.
See, I think this is going to work well. This combination, because you seem to be into the, your ales and your stouts as well. You love a Guinness, didn't you?
Oh, a Guinness is a classic, and even a mild. I do love a mild, which is why I think the hobgoblin ruby is going to be quite nice.
Well, this is it. You're going to be able to give the perspective from that side of things, and I'm quite happy to try the shit that no one else will try. I'm quite happy to go for your sour solstices, your vedettes, your lagers, your continental stuff. I'm happy to go for that. I do like a European beer. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There. Meanwhile, just looking at the chat here, they are just discussing what happened there. It seemed like the lobby collapsed for everyone, so hopefully it'll be up and running with that again very, very shortly.
So whilst we're here, I mean, obviously we've now got a little bit of time to fill. Let's have a little chat about the upcoming F1 season. Why not? Obviously, liveries have been the big talk so far. Because we've just gone through a period of about 2 or 3 weeks where everyone has now got their liveries out there, apart from Ferrari, which I think are coming this week. But we don't expect too much from them. It's going to be red and black.
I'd say they're going to go red. I'd say they're going to go red. Guess. I mean, that's me putting it out there.
But then again, Alfa Romeo sunned us. They went from white to red to white. So crazy.
They done things there.
They done things. What's your favourite so far? We touched on Aston Martin earlier.
I'm going to stick with that.
Is that the outright favourite? Yeah.
It's a toss up, But I've always been a big fan of the McLaren livery. Don't get me wrong. But I think for newcomers to the league, to the season as such, with a different livery, it's between Aston Martin or Alpine. Haas just looks like toothpaste. So personally, for me, it's between the Alpine and the Aston, and the only thing that purely makes me give it a bit of a toss up between those guys is that the Aston, I like the pink, I like the the little, touch on the sponsor there, but I'd have liked to have seen a bit more of a Braun-esque style, light yellow sort of edging on the front wing, very much like their GT3 cars. So that's my take on it. What do you think about it?
There was a mock-up of the Aston with that sort of greenish, yellowish colour.
Yeah, and that's what I was
and
picturing.
It looked so much better than what they've actually done. And I'm not knocking what they've done, because I think it looks fantastic. But you look at the drivers' suits, and I think they've got the same colour on their shoulders. That just looks a bit shit, in my opinion. I think the car still looks great, but the drivers' suits don't really necessarily, scream the style they've gone for there. And I think they just ruin it a little bit. One livery I will give a shout out to that I was quite impressed with, and it kind of flew under the radar, Williams.
Yeah,
I like what they've done.
Interesting one. I do like it. But still, for me, it doesn't quite match Alpine. in that sense. I prefer the blue of the Alpine, and that's just from a visual perspective. But yeah, no, I must admit, Williams have not done a bad job there.
So yeah, I think the cars are the cars. The liveries are what we see on the track each week, and I think you want to look at some nice cars. So we've discussed what the best ones are.
You want a bit of difference. You want a bit of difference, don't you? And in the perspective of a team like McLaren, for example, and Mercedes, love their liveries, and Ferrari fall into this bracket as well. But you just know what they're going to be every time.
Yeah.
So there's no fun in that.
And with
there's nothing new.
What's the worst livery this year?
Oh, I'm going to have to put it out there and just go Haas.
You reckon?
Haas.
See, I quite like it. I know you said it's toothpaste, and I agree it's toothpaste. And they've sold their soul to the Russian devil. But it's for
me,
it's all right. It's not bad. It's lacking sponsors, but it would do because they are generally lacking sponsors and lacking money. I don't think it's too bad. I'm actually not a massive fan of the Mercs this year. That whole AMG thing going on, I don't like that.
I do like them. There's not much difference. It's just for me that the Haas guys, it just looks very industrial and maybe just a bit too. It's just tarnished somewhat with their. They had that 2 seasons ago. They had the Rich Energy sponsor, the black and gold, looked a bit like an old. JPS Lotus.
Yeah.
And that was a cracking looking livery, and it was one of my favourite ones on the circuit. But now,
just a shame it was inspired by a phony drinks company. I thought they were coming back, by the way.
If he's watching by any chance, I would,
Oh yeah, send us a couple of cans, please, because
he's a cracking dude.
You can't even buy it though. Like, I haven't seen it for sale anywhere other than online. Like, have you actually seen Rich Energy for sale in like a corner shop or in?
Can't say I have, but I feel that this is now our mission for this season.
To get a couple of cans of Rich Energy and
try and find a couple of cans of Rich Energy.
William Story, if you're listening, we don't necessarily like you, but if you want to send us a couple of cans just to make the dreams come true, that would be great. Cheers, buddy.
That would be.
We should also probably give a mention to the fact that it looks like we're getting the lobby back up and running here. I think we're just waiting on one more driver to join, so we'll get you back in the action as soon as we can. And that one driver, I think, nope, I can't be bothered to go through all of them and find out who that one driver is. We won't name names, so yeah, we'll just wait for them to get back in, and we'll get started back on this race. It looks like we are going to be doing a full rerun of the 25%, so we were halfway through. Joseph Morales had himself a good lead but had to pit still. And we were seeing Granty Boy go on one hell of a recovery drive as well. So
yeah, it
looks like everyone's going to get a second chance though.
Yep, it looks like that driver we're waiting for is Lanod. So we're waiting for Lanod Cam Mercedes just to join back to the session.
So all right, F1 chat done. Let's move on to the real interest at the moment, which is the unfortunate demise of a certain Merseyside-based club's Premier League season.
Let's do it,
man. Let's do it. What's gone wrong? It can't all just be Virgil van Dijk, can it?
It can't. It can't all be Virgil. But it's. I feel like Jurgen now when I'm trying to talk about it, because he doesn't seem to have an answer either.
He's lost for words, and
I think it's players' belief. I think it's the players putting too much pressure on themselves. They've had such a strong 2 seasons. They've put on that high pressure, and a lot of people have said it's the high press display, right? So, yes, I can understand how that make people tired, but from hearing interviews I've heard in the past, Jurgen states with that high press, if you make sure you win, if, for example, the ball is taken from you, the defender's 6 feet away from you, if you get that ball back within 5 seconds, you've saved your whole back line a lot of energy from having to then regain the ball 20 seconds later. Yep. So, that people saying it's the high press knackering them out, I don't think it's that. I think it is purely just, players not quite believing in themselves like they should, and they've just, had a bit of a confidence knock, and I think it is a phase that they'll work through, but, it is just a bit of a shame, really. But, You know, it could be worse. It could be worse. It could be Newcastle.
Yeah, it could be worse. I mean, you say it could be Newcastle. I mean, they're not quite at the bottom yet. They're tumbling
Nah, but
down.
they've
It just so
seen
happens
they've seen Fulham draw themselves in a little bit closer. I think after this weekend, but we shall see.
Fulham look good though. I can't even knock Fulham. I'm not even going to give them like, oh, they got lucky or anything. They just played really well against you lot.
Even from a supporter's perspective, I'm a Liverpool fan through and through, but that was a good performance,
No.
and I would have, you know, I was impressed with Lookman's display for Fulham. He was running off Neco Williams' shoulder like he wasn't even there. So it was a good performance.
It was solid, and I like Josh Madger as well. He's going to be. He's got a couple of years to. He's had a couple of years in the lower leagues. I think he was with Sunderland for a little while. Because I remember him from the Sunderland Till I Die documentary on Netflix, and he looked promising. That's a cracking show. He looked promising, and he's finally got himself in the Premier League, and he looks to be, he looks to be doing the job for Fulham as well at the moment. I think he's going to be a good player. We'll mention Spurs. We brought up your team. We'll bring up my team. I'm happy to because we won 4-1 on the weekend, and Gareth Bale scored twice, and Harry Kane scored twice. It was like the wet dream for a Spurs fan to see those two on the score sheet together, and it looked like they were enjoying themselves. We weren't playing Mourinho Park the Bus ball.
Oh, old glass ankles up there for you, just doing things.
Couldn't give a shit. Did you see the goal he scored?
I heard it was a screamer. I haven't seen it yet. My favourite goal of the weekend was Granit Xhaka's goal. It was like a pinball machine.
Now that is the one exception I would say. That was amazing. I mean, coming from a Spurs fan, that's fantastic to see. I wish that could happen 100 times over before, something good happens to Spurs in that sense. Because no matter what happens, as long as Arsenal make a mistake or fuck up or do something, Spurs could lose 6-0, but as long as Arsenal do something like that every week, it just keeps me going, man. Perennial mid-table team that they are. We're just waiting for the drivers to load into this Russia race here. We'll get the chat back to the F1 at hand. So just obviously looking back at the running of that race there, we had Joseph Morales in a good position, 12-second lead, but he still had to pit, of course. And he was dominating the race. In all honesty, it opened up a massive gap. So it's a bit of a shame to take that away from him, because it looked like it was going to be very close between himself and possibly Granty Boy and Albert as well, once they had all made their pit stops. But we won't get to see that battle. We're going to see something new.
Oh, exactly that. I think it's got to be interesting. I think Morales, he shouldn't let it get to him from this point now, because he'd done a lot of work. He'd got a long way there. I think he felt like he had it in the bag. But now, if he pushes too hard off the start line here, it could go horribly wrong. So he just needs to keep a cool head and just keep it together and hope that it might fall back the same way again.
You want it to fall favourably, and he's going to have to just to keep his head together. I think we're going straight into the race here. We're straight in. We're not doing a formation lap, so apologies for not being quite so ready there. It looks like almost a mimic start there with Osborne getting in on the battle between Butler and Joseph
big
Morales.
Impact behind him. Grant's retired.
That was Granty Boy retired. Jesus. So we were just talking about Joseph Morales having a hard time. Virtual safety car, we should say as well, on the second time round. Granty Boy was having a fantastic recovery drive in the first run of this race, and now he finds himself out on lap 1 of this race. So that is a bit of a disaster. You can also see Trem as DNF'd as well. Oh, nightmare. Nightmare at the start here. Lawson may be involved in an incident as well, because he's very much trailing the pack by quite a lot.
Yeah, Trem, Lawson was...
I think this is going to be red flagged.
Yep, I believe we're straight away red flag.
Yep,
we are red flag straight
red
away.
flag.
That impact with Grant there straight off the start, that was a hefty impact. I think that was Lawson just turning around into the wall. There was nowhere to go. We see an Alpha Tower. He's sitting there in the middle of the circuit as well. That looks a bit gnarly. So
I think that was just we're red flagging, so I'm going to make it spectacular. They took our advice. Right, I'm just going to try and rewind on the stream here and try and see what happened, because I wasn't watching the back, I was watching the front, So we'll rewind here. I've got it loaded up on the old laptop, and just having a look to see. It was, yeah, Lawson come across the track. I think, yeah, it was Lawson, and just took out the Red Bull. But I'm not too sure what led him to do that. I'm not too sure if he was colliding with someone else or just lost it. It was a straight, so I'd be surprised if he lost it. But just going to get another look here. I think the camera just cuts too late to see what happened. I think Lawson actually maybe just went off the track there, and then in rejoining is then when he's taken the Red Bull of Granty Boy into the wall with him. So bit of a mare on the restart here. We've still got Joseph Morales going round. He's got that 12-second lead back, but it's not going to count for much. So he's going to need to lead the session here and restart. So just to recap the madness, Aaron, do you want to make head and tail of it?
I don't know what there is to make head and tail of that. To be fair, I just watched that.
You see what I'm seeing? You see Lawson come across the screen and unfortunately pick up the Granty Boys Red Bull.
Yeah, I see the same thing. I think he's just clipped the apex on the exit of just as he's coming down the straight there and just lost it. It almost looks like he makes the turn and just goes straight into the side of Grant and just tips him into the wall. So, and I've just had a message here that we are now postponing this race for a following week. So, unfortunately, that's how it's going to go down.
Man. Alright, well, we haven't got the two races that we promised you here, and it's a bit of an anticlimax to the SlyDog Racing League season opener. But nevertheless, you can't say it wasn't action-packed. You can't say it wasn't full of fun and full of some quite stimulating intellectual chat about your favourite beers. And that is what to look forward to next week.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's plenty to look forward to, but that was... I mean, for a restart, I think like we said beforehand, unfortunately, there was people getting a bit desperate off the start line maybe there. The second restart in Russia, race now postponed. It was just unfortunate there, I think, and
yep,
such a shame.
Shocking. Right, so let's have a little look at next week. So next week we have got Japan Short, so another short track, and Japan Short I haven't raced at all. It's the only short track that I haven't had a little look at. Followed by Monaco. And, last time we went out of Monaco, it was all very polite. No one wanted to step on anyone's toes. It was like, yes, no, after you. Oh, please, there's only room for one person here. We want to see a bit more fighting at Monaco this time round.
And if we see exactly what we've seen here in Russia so far in these two starts, that could be an interesting one.
Could be indeed. So we're gonna call it a day here, I think, because there's not much else to talk about. We'll just start slagging off Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool again in a minute, and I think someone might cry if I do that. Who you got this weekend, by the way?
Who have we got this weekend? Do you know what? Off the top of my head, I can't remember. I know we've got Leipzig in the week, Champions League, because we are in the Champions League currently. And I can update you on the scores for this evening. And Chelsea beat Everton 2-0. And West Ham beat Leeds 2-0. So cracking fantasy football there for me, because Lucas Digne got booked as well. So that's an absolute bloody bonus.
Fantastic.
But as far as fixtures go, Liverpool have got Wolves, I believe, at the weekend.
You have Wolves away as well.
Next Monday away. That's
next Monday.
No.
You seen who we've got? We've got a fairly easy one.
Who have you got?
It's some South London club.
They
can fuck off back to Woolwich.
I'm looking forward to seeing Granit Xhaka banging a hat-trick straight off of Harry Kane's cock. And on that bombshell...
Oh, that insinuates that it's erect. Aaron, what are you...
Straight off of Harry Kane's bishop's finger.
That's got to be it. That's got to be the end. Thank you for watching. And hopefully next week we'll actually get two races for you. And never mind, Dave.
Well, fingers crossed. If not, you can listen to some more dribble from us two.
Fantastic. Straight away, next week, are we going to be following, suit? Are you going to be getting two new tasty beers for us?
Of course, there's going to be some tasty beers. I'm going to give you a heads up. It's probably going to be the Hobgoblin Ruby and the Old Crafty Hen if I haven't drunk them already. So we will see what happens
Lovely.
over the course of the next week.
I'll get my shopping sorted. Right, take care, everyone.
it.
Thank you for sticking with us as long as you have. Apologies for not delivering that second race, and we'll see you in Japan. Bye-bye now.
Goodbye.